We are building a world's first in automotive history.
7 episodes in and we are way too far into it now to be turning back.
This is Jonny Smith from the late break shows Talbot, Matra, Rancho, and this is his Super Impreza donor car. Let me explain.
Jonny Smith bought his Rancho sight unseen with a vision of restoring it, but on the first inspection it was found this car was far beyond restoration.
Bloody hell. But we decided to put it on a ramp anyway, just to see how bad it really was.
But what awaited us was far beyond our rustiest expectations. The floor pan was beyond rotten, the sills were non-existent, and the chassis was like a bowl of dry cornflakes.
So Jonny's idea was to get a Super Impreza involved and throw that into the mix.
His vision was to mash the Rancho and the Impreza together to save both cars and to create one crazy idea.
Easy, right? Well, not quite.
But this is what it's all about, taking something that is completely past the point of no return and making it better than it ever was.
By making the Talbot Matra Rancho the machine that it always wanted to be. Now make sure you guys smash that like and subscribe button. Do leave a comment down below and share with your friends because it does really help us out more than what you guys know. And it also helps us to bring crazy builds like this.
Now in episode 7, it's time to dig into the dirty work, the rust repairs.
Now in episode 6 of the SubaRancho series, which I'll leave a link in the description, we ice blasted the whole underside of the Subaru. We've uncovered some rather crusty metal.
And today we'll be cutting out the rots, fabricating new sections and getting both shells solid again.
Now later on in the episode we're going to continue fabrication on the Rancho shell, but first let's start on the Subaru.
Now this part of the Rancho is definitely in a state at the moment, but we do have future plans for this part of the Rancho which we may reveal in a future episode. But for now, let's get on with the Subaru. So in a previous episode we had the underside ice blasted and the Subaru is now 90% stripped. So first off, let's get the Subaru up in the air. Now this is the main part of the rust, but the driver's side doesn't seem too bad. There is surface rust along the inner sills as well as the bottom of the rear quarters. We also have a squash sill on the rear driver's side. But
surprisingly enough, the underside of the Subaru is in relatively good condition. There is bits of rust here which do look bad, but they're not actually that bad to be fair. We've got a squash sill here, we've got a squash sill on the back, and this, well, just about all the inner sills need a bit of attention except for the centers. So I'm gonna start here. I need to move this ramp arm further back so I can get access to this, and then I can start cutting this out and refabricating pieces for this. Now this has all been ice plastered, so you can see all the bits that we do need to attend to. But yeah, I'm gonna start right here. Right here.
So first let's get the transmission jack and lift the shell up off the ramp to be able to move the front ramp arm. This is made easier as there is no actual weight in the shell itself, but it does mean that we get better access to the rust in this area. Now we'd always recommend taking the car down to do this, but because this is a bare shell, I think we're pretty safe. Now first off I'm going to start with the wire wheel, and here you can see where the rust ends and the good metal starts. So I'm going to use the wire wheel to strip the underseal in this area to find where the good metal is. This front passenger sill bottom is also squashed. And here you can see me marking out the original spot welds to be able to drill them out and remove this whole panel. So I'm using the spot weld drill bit to drill through the spot welds to loosen the panel. And here you can see me using the air chisel to fully release the panel itself. That rust is definitely not what I wanted to see. This whole panel needs remaking, and also this chassis rail needs a lot of work too. So first off, I'm going to start on the chassis rail and mark out what I need to cut out. Then I can start chopping out the rust and start fabricating a new panel. This chassis rail is double skinned, and luckily the inner skin is relatively rust free.
Okay, this is slightly worse than I previously anticipated. I didn't quite expect to be cutting all of this out. I'm cutting all of this out as well. As you can see a couple of small holes here, and I found these while I was wire wheeling this section. And it turns out that it's completely rusty on the inside, so all of this needs replacing. And you've just seen me take the outer skin of the chassis rail off as well, which means that needs replacing as well. The good thing is, though, that the inside is good. So I can just clean this up, get rid of all these bits of chod on here, and then I can just put a plate on there, bada bing, bada boom, that's done. But this is going to be quite the challenge to try and fabricate and make fit on there. This is also rusty underneath here, but I think I can save that without too much issue. So I'm going to clean all this up, fabricate a piece for that, clean all this up here, and then start making this.
This section has definitely seen better days. We can see the panel has been holding water and it's rusted from the inside out. First off, let's get the area cleaned up.
Right, so this inner skin is good, which is fantastic. I've got rid of all the rust and the little noggins from the actual spot wheels themselves. Now I've cleaned all this up with the wire wheel, but to get in all the corners and to give it the best chance possible, I'm going to use the laser, which is a pulse laser cleaning machine from Zach Lasers. Now I'll leave these guys in the description. This is a beast of a machine, and if you can see it, you can laser it. You can get in all the corners and all the nooks and crannies and make sure to get rid of all that rust. And then I can come in with the Dinatrol RC900, which is a rust converter, and it leaves a nice epoxy coating as well. And then we can get some primer over there as well to give this the best chance possible.
It's extremely important to remove all the rust to give the shell the best chance we can. Now, as I mentioned, this is a pulse laser cleaning machine. This machine removes the rust really efficiently and leaves a nice surface, as you can see here. So I'm going to clean up the area with the laser, and then I can go in with the RC900 rust converter. Now, as you can see, it's turned the bare metal black, which means it's doing its job. Now, before doing any welding, we need to make sure that there's nothing on the other side of the panel that would get damaged or set on fire. Here you can see me removing the ECU and the sound deadening, making sure to keep it out of the way. Now the car can go back up, and I'm going to use the hammer and dolly to straighten this panel out. Here on the chassis rail, I've actually cut a little bit too deep, so I'm going to have to weld it up. And here's a trick to make sure you don't get burned. I'm using a Tyrolex grinding disc on my welding lance.
So I've cleaned this section up. Now I've used the RC900 from Dinatrol and it turned it black, which means it's reacted with the surface. That leaves sort of like an epoxy coating as well, but I've also let that dry overnight and I've gone over it with some etch primer from Upol. That etches into the surface and it leaves it nice and protected. So now that's done and it's dry, I'm going to go over with a paper template and mark out exactly what I need for this chassis rail. And I can get the chassis rail welded on and then I can make this section here.
Now the primer is dry, I can use the paper to make a template. What I'm doing here is using the lid of my Sharpie to give an offset for the curve that I need. Once I'm happy with the panel, I can prime the inside and then start welding it in place. Once I've welded one side, I can then start hammer forming the other side. Right, that's the chassis rail done. That's turned out quite nicely. We've got all the shapes in there, bada bing, bada boom. So I've got some extra primer on there, that's just drying. So now I've got this section here, which goes up here. Now what I'm gonna do is I've marked on here where my corners are, and I'm basically gonna flatten this out and use this as a template, as a flat template, and then I can obviously bend the new section to suit. It's not in the best condition, as you can see, but I think that's the best course of action. Now it's back to the Mac Industries bench to flatten this panel out to use it as a template. I'll leave a link in the description to Mac Industries that do some very high quality welding tables. Here I am marking out all the cutouts and the original spot weld locations. After roughly cutting the panel out, I can now start marking out the original strengthening beads. Basically, these beads give more rigidity to the panel. Whenever I'm bead rolling, I always like to do a test piece first and then compare it to the original. before I do the beads on the panel. The bead roller squashes the panel between two dies to form a strengthening bead. As you can see here, it's important to recreate these beads to ensure the panel has enough strength. Now I'm going to switch over to the tipping die to create a curved edge on this panel. Now due to it being curved, I can't just use the straight metal bender. The tipping die keeps the left hand side of the panel in place, and I can apply upward pressure on the right hand side to create the bend. And now I can do the last remaining bends on this panel and then test fit it in place. I need to make sure this panel is butt up against the original, so I'm using the transmission jack to push it into place. Here you can see this triangle shape matches the one on the opposite side.
Turned out all right. Turned out nice. So made a flat panel, put all the beads in it first, bent it all up, got these little bends on here as well, and then just had to offer it up, trim it up, and make sure it was flush against the car and weld it on. So that's actually turned out really nice, and it matches the other side as well, especially like this curvature that's going on here. So I've put some RC900 rust converter on there. It leaves an epoxy coat, and that's how we can see it's nice and black. And then once that's dry, I'm going to go over with some edge prime as well, just to protect it. Obviously in the future we're going to underseal everything, but you know, in the interim I'm going to go for edge primer. So that's done. While that's drying, I'm going to go on to the Rancho shell. So we did start that in the previous episode, so I'm going to continue that and hopefully get a lot of that shell actually done and in primer as well. Let's go.
Now it's onto the Rancho shell. This is a major component of the Rancho that we are keeping, so we need to make sure that it's structurally good.
And there we have it, a freshly squeezed episode number 7 of the SubaRancho series. Now, this did take a little bit longer than previously anticipated. That's why this episode doesn't have as much as what I wanted to get into it. But in the next episode, we're going to be completely refurbing all this and getting this in primer, hopefully, definitely. If you did like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you do like, share it with all your friends. It really does help us out when you guys do that. So yeah, thank you very much for all the guys that do that, and girls as well. So yeah, we'll catch you in the next episode of the SubaRancho.